In today's video, I'm going over my top 5 flips for 2020. That's right guys, in this video I'm breaking it all down, the best things that I found and flipped for the most amount of profit, the best items that you should be looking for when you're outsourcing, they're all going to be shown to you in today's video. 2020 has been a super rough year for reselling for a whole bunch of reasons, mainly though because we just can't get any inventory. It's been very difficult over the last few months to be finding things. Value villages have been closed and every other sort of way of getting inventory, whether it be Facebook Marketplace, eBay auctions, they're all either overpriced or oversaturated, and it's being very difficult to get those kind of deals. With that said though, we were still able to secure the bag on a couple really high ticket and good items and a couple just general categories I want to discuss as well in today's video in terms of where you can be looking to make the most amount of money when you're outsourcing and when you're selling things on eBay or any other sort of online platforms. So without any further ado, I want to jump right into today's video with the number one thing that I purchased. These aren't actually in any sort of particular order. But number one is going to be a Mario Party 8 game that I got. Now again, this is sort of more of a category thing than this specific flip, although this one was quite good. I paid exactly $0 for this game and we sold it for $27.99. And how did I do that? You might be asking, well, that's because I purchased it in a Wii bundle from Value Village. Now, this is something that I see all the time and there's some huge money to be made here and people always miss out on these. And this is because when you're purchasing used consoles from Value Village, they can oftentimes have games left in them. Those games that are left in the consoles are essentially just freebies that go along with the consoles. Sometimes I'll see consoles that might not even be worth anything, but I'll plug them in at Value Village and see if there's a game inside there, because sometimes these games can be worth a lot of money. Oftentimes, this probably makes sense. People always like to play the best games, not usually games that suck. So you often find pretty good games in the consoles because people's favorite games or whatever they played last is usually in the console, and that's usually on the higher end scale of things. So whenever you're at Value Village and purchasing a console, I highly suggest checking inside the console, see if there's any sort of free games like this one that I found. This was in a Wii console that I picked up just a few weeks ago. You guys probably saw it in one of the last videos, but again, a really good flip there to start us off. All right, number 2 here for the year is a specific board game. This is Monopoly Junior, which I purchased for I think like $3.99 and it sold for $39.99 on eBay. But this is again more of a category thing, is new board games. Again, something that I see all the time. People get board games that they just don't want to play because they're kind of, I guess, old now or dated or whatever. I mean, I think board games are still probably fun for some people, but obviously they are because people are still buying them. But some people, they're done with the board games. So they get a brand new board game, they donate it to Value Village without even thinking about it, and there are plenty of them there. Basically, every time I go, I'm guaranteed to find at least 1 or 2 brand new board games, and these things can go for some really good money online. For example, the one here that I found, this Monopoly Junior Princess game, this one was, again, only $3.99. It was actually up against a whole bunch of other new board games that I think I picked up in that same trip. But again, a huge return on that. Basically 10 times our money on this one, which is a huge flip. But yeah, they're just another thing that you can find there basically every time, and you can make a whole bunch of money on these things. They do take sometimes a little bit of time to sell, usually about 1 to 2 months, but you can move them pretty quickly, get a whole bunch of them, and you could probably build a whole store just based off of selling board games. All right, next up is one that I absolutely used to hate picking up, but more recently have gotten into buying, is Guitar Hero Guitars. This is one that I bought for $3.99. Actually, no, I bought it for $2.99. And it sold for $45. Took an offer on it down from $60. But these things, again, are one of the things that you're going to find at Value Village every single time that you go. You're always going to see them, and they're worth looking up. Some of them can be worth upwards of $100. Some of them need little dongles, though. You might want to keep your eyes out for those. Those can actually be worth like $30 if you find just the dongles for the guitars. But some of them don't. So you're going to have to do your research into what consoles need the dongles for the guitars and which ones don't. Specifically in this case, this one did not need a dongle, so I just purchased the guitar $2.99 and we flipped it for $45. Huge deal there, and overall we made some really good money on it. All right, this next one is more of a home run item, something that you're definitely not going to see every time, but again, a category that I would like to suggest that you look at every time that you go to your local thrift stores. This one is a Fostex mini mixer. I purchased this item for $5.99 and took an offer on it within 24 hours of it being listed for $75. This was again just a huge flip and a huge return on something that I found that I didn't have any knowledge of about, but it's in the pro audio section. And what I mean by that is there's not actually a pro audio section at Value Village, but the pro audio category on eBay is generally speaking a very high-end sort of market where you can get some really high-priced items. This item was again one of those, and it was tested and working, and for $5.99 was something that was a great flip for that price. But you can find items like this almost every single time that you go to Value Village. Again, there are some different pro audio items that you're going to see. Some of them aren't going to be worth as much as others, but this ranges everything from different microphones, some sort of specific cables and adapters. There's all sorts of different speaker hookups, amplifiers, again, things like mixers, and other sort of, input I/O devices, MIDI keyboards. There's a whole bunch of different pro audio stuff that people will just donate and get rid of when the new stuff comes out. and you can get these for really good deals and flip them on eBay for huge amounts of money. And you have a benefit with this one because a lot of people don't understand what pro audio is or how these things work, and they have no reason to pick up and look at those items in Value Village because they either don't understand them, they don't want to test them, they don't want to deal with them. But often these are some of the electronics that can be worth the largest amount of money at Value Village. So keep your eyes open in the electronics section for anything related to pro audio. Check for those XLR inputs and the RCA inputs and the 1/4 inch inputs and different sort of guitar pedals. Anything related to audio for that matter is probably something worth your time looking at Value Village. Last one here, this was not really related to Value Village, but another thing that was selling well this year, so I wanted to bring it up. This was a Diamondback bike that I purchased for $20 at a garage sale, and I sold it for over $150, or actually just $150, but I sold it for $150. Technically over $150 because I also got a bottle of like champagne with it, which was pretty sweet. But $150 that I sold for on Kijiji. This item I listed sold again within 24 hours of me listing it. Bikes were going crazy this year. I actually sold quite a few of them. This was one of the big ones though because it was so desirable. I didn't realize how much this thing was worth when I listed it. I definitely listed it on the lower end of things at 150. Probably could have got closer to 300 for it if I was willing to put it up there and wait maybe a couple days. But I got responses from everyone from different provinces trying to drive in and buy it, people trying to put reserves on it through PayPal and pay me ahead of time and pick it up. I had like 30 messages come in the day that I listed this thing, and it sold right away. I sold it the next day. Again, $20 flip into $150. This was not a nice bike either. There's probably some pictures on the screen, but it's a rusty one. It was an old one, but apparently it was desirable. But yeah, it just goes to show that people were really into bikes this year. Everybody was trying to buy them. There were tons of people, out there flipping them. And again, this was just a great item. If you have one or two and you're able to get your hands on them for a good deal, you could flip for a lot of money. Okay, so those are my top 5, but I actually have one more that I would like to have as an honorable mention, as I was able to find a location that was selling video games for $1 a piece consistently this year. This was my local Habitat for Humanity, and I managed to find a Simpsons hit and run game there that I sold the other day for I think $27.99. Actually, I think it was $29.99, $30, and I bought it for $1. So again, I'm not sure if their prices are going to stay like this for a while. Maybe they're going to realize that maybe they should start upping the price on their video games. But every time I've gone to the Habitat for Humanity stores this year, I've been able to find video games for $1 there. So definitely a place, if you haven't checked out, might be worth your time checking out. They unfortunately don't have too much stuff that's really great for flipping on eBay. They have some electronics, but I haven't had much luck there. They have some board games, again, haven't had too much luck there. But the video games, I've done okay. It's probably worth your time to go check it out. I don't know. It's hard to say because again, you don't find too much there. But when I'm looking in there for furniture or other things, I tend to go right over to the video game section, and I'm always able to find a couple of video games for $1. Again, not sure if it's worth it depending on how close or far they are from you to spend the gas to get all the way over there. But if you have one close by, definitely worth checking out for $1 a game for most of their video games, or for all the video games I saw this year. We were able to flip them for some really big profits. And with that said, that's going to conclude the top 5 sales that I had for 2020. Again, I sort of went through and chose them more based on a category basis, and I can explain to you guys some of the things that you should be looking out for at Value Village versus just specific items I found. Because I felt like if I went with really unique items that you're never going to see, I wouldn't really be providing too much value in this video. So instead of that, I went for the top sort of categories I'm selling in, the top items in those categories where you can see some high margins and you can find them consistently every time that you go out sourcing. Anyway, I hope that you guys found some value in this video. I definitely had some fun making it, and if you enjoyed it and you enjoy other content like this, I make tons of different videos trying, selling things on eBay, doing Shopify flips, Instagram themed pages. If it sounds like stuff that interests you, please consider subscribing to the channel. With that said, if you learned something from this video or have some of your own flips that you've made this year that you think are absolutely insane, be sure to leave those down below. I'd love to hear what you guys are selling and what's selling well for you guys. Leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys all in the next one.